What's up, gearheads? It's Trev, and today at the garage, doing a U-joint on the rear drive shaft and some differential fluids. I serviced my front and rear diff fluids less than 30,000 miles ago. But seeing as I wheel this thing quite often and they've been submerged underwater a few times, it's probably a good idea to do them again. Plus, my rear diff here has a little bit of a pinion seal leak. Fluid's not quite low, but it didn't come dripping out when I pulled the plug, so it's a little bit low, and it's definitely very dirty. So, I'm gonna go ahead and get this diff cover off. Might even be a good day to paint them. I don't know. See how I feel in a few minutes once it's all apart. The only other thing I'm worried about, I do have a little bit of a gear whine noise, so I was curious if my differentials, if the fluid was getting low or not. But like I said, it's not too bad, so we're gonna pop this off. Overall, the gears don't look too bad, but you can see they might be getting a little sharp right here. That could just be me imagining things too. So I've got this rear diff drained, cleaned, covers cleaned, ready to be put back together. But just for the sake of being somewhat efficient, I'm going to go ahead and go around to the front and drain and clean that all first, and then this way I could seal everything up all at once with one tube of silicone. Now for my front diff, obviously same as the back, but this one might take a little bit of work because this differential's seen a couple of hits, and I got two bolts here, but there's not quite so much of them left anymore. So I'm gonna have to grind these down so I can get a socket on it and then be able to get them out. Just enough to grab it. All right, now we'll break the rest loose and drain this one. That front differential fluid actually looks cleaner than the rear, which is funny because I expected the exact opposite. Hopefully I don't have a problem going on with my rear end. That would not be good. It would make it so it's a time to upgrade to Dana 44s. It'd be the time. Bank account wouldn't quite be ready. So I got both differential covers resealed. I'm gonna let that cure up for a little bit, and then I'm gonna fill them up with 80/90 weight. Drive shaft U-joints. I did this back one a couple years ago. It had some play in it. And now, this one's got play. Oh, and look at that, it's greasable. Oh, that's a shame. We start by prying this clamp open. As you can see, it's got that little pinch section up there. That'll release this boot. We'll slide the boot off. And you can see this just uses tension to clamp on. Now I'm not changing this back U-joint because like I said, I already did it a couple of years ago. It's pretty new. So if at all possible, you do want to try to line it back up just the way it was. You want to keep the caps straight, same side, everything. So I'm just going to try and scribe a little mark in here. I got plenty of dirt to use, that's for sure. So I can get those back in the same spot. And this ear. And now we're free. Now, unlike the axle U-joints on a Jeep, the drive shaft U-joints have clips on the outside that hold it in. So the first thing we need to do is compress all 4 clips on these caps and get them out of the way. Some of them might need a little bit of persuasion to break each side loose. Once you've got all the clips out, same as any other U-joint, find a socket that fits over top of the ear that the cap of the U-joint can fit inside. Here's my new one, as you see, just barely makes it, which is perfect. Hammer it down. Then you can remove the cap. See what kind of damage is in there. This one's not so bad, not nearly as bad as my axle at least, but it was starting to gum up a little. Now, I want to go the opposite way. Knock that cap up through. Then our U-joint's free and we can get the U-joint out of the yoke. That one was getting kind of bad, so that's probably where the play was. Huh. Except this one, it appears, I don't quite have the clearance. I mean, it's just there. But, there we go. These little rubber gaskets were getting in the way. So now I can hammer this out of the yoke. Now we'll slide our new U-joint in. Being careful not to disturb the needle bearings from the caps. Now you want to make sure the cap is centered, needle bearings aren't falling out, that this is secure, and you don't hammer on the cap, you still hammer on the ear. Once you're flush, put the other cap in. Alright, so I got my clips in on the yoke side. I got one of these caps started. But this end's just kind of being a pain in the ass. Those caps are on a little tight actually. It's kind of hard to move that way. So what we're going to do is just try and knock things loose just a little bit. There it is, except now that cap seems... Now that clips in, but this one's not. A little bit of a process. This one's not quite in either. These aftermarket U-joints just don't fit too well. I'm going to keep knocking these back and forth, but you get the gist. Don't forget the grease fitting, if you have one. So once you're done fighting with your aftermarket U-joint that just doesn't quite fit just right, you can put everything back together. So you want to find those scribes that you made on the drive shaft, if they still exist. U-joint's done. Time to fill up the differentials. So obviously I decided against painting the differential covers. If this Dana 35, it's on its way out. There's not much sense in even fixing that leaking pinion seal, let alone trying to make it look pretty. Both differential covers resealed, fluids filled. The front fluid looked okay, back fluid definitely needed changed. That's kind of to be expected with a little bit of a pinion seal leak going on anyway. I don't like the noise that I'm hearing. I'm not sure if it's coming from the rear end or not. It's only when I'm on the throttle. Kind of sounds like a rear end noise. We'll see if the fluid change helps at all. And then we got that U-joint changed out on the rear drive shaft as well. So I got to take it for a test drive. Hopefully that U-joint took care of my squeaking noise because it's really starting to drive me nuts. But any questions or anything, post them below. Otherwise, guys, thanks for watching. Talk to you later.